sure is.
You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't even give him no light. I'm gonna cut his light out. You should.
Yeah, I'm shooting.
How you doing, family? If you have a seat next to you that's vacant, would you please raise your hand? Okay, there are students in the back. Can you see the raised hands? You can walk towards the raised hands and have a seat. If you have a vacant seat next to you, would you please raise your hand, please? Give us a few more minutes, family. We just about there. Is Lamont Geddes here?
Tape rolling?
Let us pray. Gracious Father, you who exist always in the present tense, we first give you the honor and the praise for allowing us to be here in this chapel at this time on this day. We thank you, Father, for all the blessings with which you have blessed us, our persons and our community. We thank you for the successes of the Black struggle in America and the world thus far. We thank you for our leaders, past, present, and future. We thank you for the strong hope of our mothers and fathers and our grandfathers and grandmothers that strengthens us even today and keeps us going. We thank you for the church, always a safe place of faith and truth and action. This day, Father, we meet again in the church, and we ask your blessings first and foremost upon our speaker. We ask that all that is said, all that is done, and all that is heard be for your glory and your honor. Let your power and wisdom reside in our assembly tonight, that we may be encouraged and instructed and empowered. In your heavenly name, amen. Amen. Now please continue standing. Before we sit down, I'd like us all to sing the first two stanzas of Lift Every Voice and Sing, our national anthem. I guess I'll start it off. Lift every voice and sing till heaven ring with the
How you doing, family? Everybody's all right? Well, we're here in a good call and a good name. But before we go right down to the subject at hand and to the strong soldier that we all came here to see, I want to bring up a mighty soldier and administrator, if I can say that in 2 words, here at the podium. I'm going to bring up the dean. We all know this dean. This is the Dean of Residence Life.
All right.
Please give Dean a round of applause. Dean.
I'm really honored to have been asked by President Ture to come and give very, very brief remarks. I was a student at Howard in the early to mid-'60s, and I was a very a speaker that came to campus, and just to eliminate that suspense, not the speaker tonight. He was over here. And I was too busy to go. And I heard this particular speaker's name, and I thought he was a little crazy, so I figured, you know, I'm too busy, and I get a chance another time to see him. Well, I'm really pleased that those of you tonight were not too busy with other things that I'm sure are important to you to do tonight, to come to see another great man. The man that I missed seeing on campus that night was Malcolm X. And I never got a chance to meet him. So I congratulate you for your wisdom. I brought to Brother Kwame tonight. I've already given it to him. I'm a pack rat of sorts, and don't throw anything away. And I brought a 20-year-old poster for African Liberation Day. In 1978, Malcolm X Park. And I wanted to present this copy to President Hudson.
I'll never make that mistake again. And I'm glad to see that you're not ever making that mistake again.
Several of our compatriots from back in the day are here tonight, and it's been quite a reunion. I just want to say to all of current students and others that are here tonight, that no matter what role you decide to take, always remember that the struggle of our people is paramount and most important. Thank you for being here.
King. You know, there's two deans everybody loves here at Howard. One of them is Dean King, and the other one is Dean Arthur. He's in the back. And of course, the dean of this holy place, the dean of this house, the dean that we all gather here, the wonderful Dean Richardson. I want to introduce the great student leaders here at Howard University, just a sampling of what we have here today. I'm going to start on the stage. And if I missed anyone, I know I have. I see quite a few of us, or quite a few of y'all in the audience right now. We'll get to everybody a little later. I want to introduce, for a brief introduction, Mr. Neville Welch.
Thank you very much, brother. Good evening. Good evening. We first give thanks to the unmoved mover for facilitating and spearheading Brother Kwame's journey back to the Mecca. Brother Kwame, a very special welcome is extended to you on behalf of the International Student Association. Our best regard is extended to the Dean of the Chapel, Dean Richardson, for allowing this place to be the home of another historical event. In that glass over there, we see the face of Dean Crawford, Dean Hill, and Dr. Howard Thurman. My brother, Kwame, you've earned your place among the immortals, in our hearts, and among the men and women who have taught us that man cannot live by bread alone. Frantz Fanon said, every generation out of obscurity must find its destiny and either fulfill or betray. Brother Kwame, your physical presence here tonight is a constant reminder that we have come a very, very long way. But we have a far, 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 far way to go. You remind us that we were not sent here at this institution to get a Mercedes-Benz, to get a BMW, to get a fancy house, to get Versace. The unmoved mover is not interested in what degree we got while we were here or what our GPA was and all the other stuff that we were told are important. Who am I? What style did I make of the life that was granted to me? In essence, what is my lifestyle? Our Thurman would have said we should live our life in such a way that when God looked at us, He would never repent. He made us. Brother Kwame, your presence here reminds us that we have to carry our cross, not the ones that we wear around our neck. We must walk the road of suffering and self-denial, the Jericho road. There we will hear the testimonies and see the horror of white power. On that road, there are men who are being impaled by toilet plungers, people denying that they were and they are the beneficiaries of affirmative action, liquidation and greed as the going principles, prisons substituting schools. Oh brother, you remind us that they came before Columbus. You remind us of how Europe undeveloped Africa. My brothers and sisters, we give thanks to the unmoved mover again for bringing our brother back home to the Mecca. We are thankful for all that you've contributed toward our mental liberation and black upliftment and emancipation. My brothers and sisters, please join me in welcoming Brother Kwame back home. Welcome home.
Thanks a lot. It's going to be a very spirited meeting tonight. I want to introduce one organization. Everybody knows this organization, and everybody loves this organization. Everybody has benefited in some way, somehow, from this organization here on the Howard University campus. I want to introduce two representatives. I know there's many. I see a lot in the audience. I want to introduce some representatives from the campus pals, ladies and gentlemen. Can you give a round of applause to Mr. Rob Hall and Maria Austin? Please welcome to the stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Hall. And we are both campus pals, this is true. What I like to say is that Campus Pals is an organization that is a microcosm of Howard University in general. Every school on the campus is represented. All walks of life, from East Coast to West Coast, is represented by Campus Pals. As Howard University is a microcosm of people of African descent worldwide. And very simply, I would like to say on behalf of Campus Pals, Howard University students, that we appreciate the path that has been paved by brothers like Kwame Ture for us. And we understand the responsibility that we now have to carry on the torch that they led.
We'd also welcome the leadership of our freshmen. Campus Pals, as you know, we're an organization that starts with helping the freshmen. So all the freshmen who are here tonight, we welcome you all to leadership and applaud you for being here tonight because a lot of people are not. And we're going to leave it at that and want to say welcome Brother Kwame Ture on behalf of Campus Pals.
Thank you.
Representing the undergraduate student assembly, all the undergraduate students here at Howard University, the lovely Zandra Jones. Thank you very much.
Good evening. On behalf of the undergraduate student assembly, I'm indeed honored to stand before you this evening on such a special occasion. I have the distinct pleasure of bringing greetings and welcomes, and in doing so, I'm not only welcoming home a brother who has gone before us, but I am welcoming all of you here to a very special group, to a very special party. First, in welcoming Mr. Kwame Ture, I didn't really know what to say, y'all. I was like, I mean, what do you say to welcome a man who is actually a part of history himself? I could say that he's been a part of the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee and the Black Panthers and the Pan-African movement. I could say that whether it's Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture, and even in sickness, he has always made his presence known and his voice heard as it pertains to unity and freedom and fighting injustice for all people. But I feel more compelled to say thank you. As a senior marketing major from Birmingham, Alabama, I am here not by my work alone, but by the work of those who have come before me. By those such as Kwame Ture and Rap Brown and Angela Davis and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, all those who came and fought for me, I'm here. And so I have to say thank you. Mr. Ture for having been an inspiration and an example for all those who seek justice for all people, for those who seek truth, for those who seek to find the universal one love, and who see that the whole can do so much more than the individual parts. And it is with this in mind that I welcome you, the second group of special people, the Howard University community. It is my desire that we will leave here this evening with a renewed fervor and a renewed spirit to fight for what we believe in. It is my desire that if we leave here with only one thing learned from our wise teacher, that it is anything worth having is worth fighting for. And it is because of these people that we no longer have to fight only with our fists, but we can fight with our minds, with our pocketbooks, with our dollars, in the boardrooms, in the classrooms, in the back rooms. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to take all that is being given to you tonight. You can do what I do. I listen to what's being said. I use what I can use and discard what I can't. Take it all in. Make no mistake. As Dean King said, you are not here by accident. Take advantage of it for all that it's worth. Thank you for supporting this Student Association program, and God bless.
I want to bring on the Vice President of the Howard University Student Association, the Vice President that you always see, the Vice President that you know, my friend and your friend, please receive her, the Vice President of the Howard University Student Association.
Good evening, everybody. I'm really asked not to be brought up today. See how much pull I have around here. I just wanted to welcome you all and thank you for coming out to support yet another Nation Time program. When we ran our campaign last year, we ran on Nation Time, and everybody asked us what Nation Time meant. And Nation Time is about bringing a community of people together. Not only the Howard community, but the DC community and the Black community as a whole. And as you can see tonight, this is exactly what we've done. So I'll be short. In my remarks, and I just want to thank Brother Kwame for coming and joining us tonight. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor and a privilege for all of us to be here tonight. And I hope you enjoy it. And I'm sure by the end of tonight, you'll all be screaming that it is Nation Time for all time. Thank you.
Is Karen Spellman in the audience? Karen Spellman, would you please join us on stage, please? This is what everybody see him on the yard with the afro. Did I give it away? Here's the president, ladies and gentlemen, of the Howard University Student Association, Mr. Jonathan Wesley Hutchell.
First and foremost, I must give all honor and praise to God for being good enough to allow us to be present at this place at this time. Good evening. On behalf of the student body here at Howard, we would like to thank all the students and administrators who helped to make this program a success. I must stress Dr. Steve Davis, Vice President of Student Affairs, if he is here. Dean Archer, Dean King. I must also stress Attorney Donald Temple. If he's in the house, raise your hand. Also, the All African People's Revolutionary Party. Especially Dr. John Trumbull, Kamau Benjamin, Brother Bimboshi Shango, and Masani Bidiako, who helped facilitate Kwame's presence here tonight and help us to contact many of you who are here. We would also like to acknowledge, once again, the Howard University administration and staff, the student leadership whom you have heard from tonight, the community leadership which is present, who join us tonight as we celebrate our theme, 2 generations of African students on the front line of the African Revolution. I've been assigned the task and have the honor to introduce Brother Kwame Ture, whom most of you already know for more years than I've been born. So I will not waste your time and Kwame's time telling you what you already know. You all know that Kwame is a product of, a student of, an alumni of one of the best that Howard University has produced. We do not suggest here that the development of this great man is limited to or solely subscribed to Howard. Kwame is an institution at Howard University and on college and university campuses throughout the United States, Africa, and the world. He is an example and inspiration to at least 2 generations of African students worldwide who are continuously on the front lines and serve as the vanguard of the African struggle and worldwide revolution. His contributions are many, including his work as an organizer with the Nonviolent Action Group, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, that's right, after that. One of the chairman here was the chairman of our Advisory Neighborhood Commission. I'm looking for him. Brother Lawrence Gia, please stand. Lawrence Gia. The Lowndes County Freedom Organization, which was the first Black Panther Party.
All right.
The movement to take Kwame Nkrumah back to Ghana.
All right.
And the RBA, which is the Democratic Party of Guinea.
Yeah.
There you go. He has been a teacher and mentor who has met and taught face-to-face
to a minimum of 250,000 students, at least 2 generations of African and progressive students and youth over the last 30 years. He is also known as a writer whose works include Black Power, The Politics of Liberation, and Kwame Speaks, From Black Power to Pan-Africanism. He is currently completing his autobiography. His struggles include the right to vote, the right to self-defense, and the necessity to organize an independent all-African political party. We, the leadership of the Howard Student Body, are honored to take our place among a host of student leadership and administrations over the past 30 years to welcome Kwame home. We know that to some people home is heaven, and that to others Africa, Guinea is his home. But Howard University is and will always be Kwame's home, away from home. We are honored to make this presentation as a token of our respect, thanks, and love for Brother Kwame Ture. You can see him having a little problem with the podium. So I want to make this presentation. I want to give Brother Kwame a big Howard shirt. Thank you so much. Please bring him on with a big round of applause, Brother Kwame Ture.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We know that through our life experience, that when you work for the people will never forsake you. So we are never worried about our conditions. We know that no matter what conditions we find ourselves in, our people will take care of us. So we want to thank you for all the love you've demonstrated. We're honored to be here tonight. We want to thank all the student organizations, all of the deans, all of the different peoples involved in putting this together. Of course, as a student at Howard, I know what it takes, and I know the hard and serious work that's involved in it. So we want to thank you as one who knows the work that you've done. We want to thank so many, many brothers and sisters who we've seen in the audience that we haven't seen in years. And we're glad to see a very good cross-section of generations here tonight. We are very honored to be at Rankins Chapel, and Dean Richardson is only continuing a tradition that has to be continued. At my time, it was Dean Crawford. And one of the things about Rankins Chapel is that it was always open for meetings of this kind when other areas of the university was closed. So this tradition, of course, is a tradition which continues. It has to do with the very tradition of our people. Our people who have never seen religion as the opium of the masses. That, of course, coming directly out of the European culture. It being a fact that Europe has never produced any universal religion, all of them has entered from the outside. And as Michael Laplace, the founder of the Ba'ath Party, properly points out, religion is alien to the character and history of Europe, end of quote. Therefore, the struggle of Africans ensuring that religion and revolution go hand in hand is one that we must thank our culture for. It has asserted itself against great onslaught in the world. And we hold high that if one is truly religious, one must be revolutionary. I Christians in Harlem on a Sunday morning crossing over drug addicts to go to church. And I was outside talking to the drug addicts. And they told me that I should come to church. And I told them that Jesus Christ, peace be upon his name, and missed the Sabbath day for a drugged animal in a well. I think this church for a human being. So we are glad of this tradition. We want to make some remarks to you tonight along the topic which you have chosen, which is an excellent topic. But we want to do it in the African tradition. Malcolm X carried on the tradition, though we don't have the same format, by calling them fireside chats. Every once in a while you need a fireside chat. You know, sometimes some people do not understand the real essence of our struggle. The real essence of our struggle is eternal. That is to say, there's no time when you will struggle for the people and then after a while you sit back and relax and enjoy life. This is reactionary thinking of the worst order. Simply because the more you struggle, the more you know. And the more you know, the more you're able to do. And your people are going to need you to do until you die. Therefore, if you understand this, you prepare yourself for eternal struggle. We want to have a fireside chat, just open up some assumptions so we all understand what we're talking about. Some people may think that we're talking about you be a SNCC member, you wage a struggle in SNCC for a couple of years, and then after that you become a congressman and do nothing for the people. Kwame Ture, a great son of Africa, says that it is most irresponsible to undertake a task voluntarily, which we say is indispensable to the people's happiness, and before completing the task, to stop. This will compromise, he continues, the behavior of generations to come. This is the first contradiction we want to point out to you between you and your older generation of Africans who are on the front line. They thought that they were just to be on the front lines for a little while and then integrate into American society and enjoy life for the rest, and enjoy the time for the rest of their life. This is a disservice and a betrayal of principles to people's soul. You must reject this path instinctively. I mean, you must instinctively reject it. The mistake to a path is the path of truth. A prerequisite for truth is consistency. We're not saying that everyone who's consistent is correct. No, you can be consistently incorrect. And we've seen that many times from many officials in the American government. All the time. I mean, for example, they have been consistently incorrect on Cuba for 30 years, and they persistently. So you can be consistent, but consistently incorrect. But before we pay attention to you, you must be consistent. Once you're inconsistent, there's no need to pay attention to you. If today you're in this camp, the next day you're in this camp, the next day in another camp, next time another camp, if your behavior is inconsistent, we know it cannot be correct. So just in order for us to look at you, if you are representing truth to us, you must be consistent, whether correctly or incorrectly. Therefore, those who have taken this path have been inconsistent. Therefore, they've taken the path of lies. Lies can never free our people. Only the truth will free our people. Only the truth. Therefore, this is one contradiction to look at. We do not come to praise. Your job as a younger generation coming is to assess properly what went on before you, to see what contributions you can make to advance the struggle, and what errors you must correct from the ones they made. This task must be properly understood, especially the task of correcting errors. The Chinese say, once you make a mistake, And you know it's a mistake. If you don't correct the mistake, you've made your second mistake. We are revolutionaries here, and mistakes are fatal. Therefore, we must correct them. We urge each of you to come and to look carefully at the errors they made. You must come to correct them. You must come to correct the errors, and you must come to improve upon the strategy to go forward. Now, we've already said from the very beginning that the struggle is eternal. Once you decide to struggle for your people, you better pick it up. Look at those panthers who came out, said they wanted to fight for the people, and now they're doing all sorts of nonsense, everything other than fighting for the people. They've compromised generations of strugglers. These generations come to say, well, if they started the struggle, then maybe we should start too. And then you know what they say? Drugs destroyed the panthers. Drugs, the police destroyed the panthers. Ex-panther, because they ain't nothing but a pussycat now. I heard an ex-panther say, Huey Newton was killed by drugs. Huey Newton was killed by the police. Who brings drugs in the community? Who knows all the drug dealers in the community? Who manipulates all the drug dealers in the community? Who takes the drug dealers and informers into organizations? Who kills Huey Newton? You must be careful in your analysis. Yeah. Any analysis you make of oppressed people in every area of their life where you leave out the enemy will never give you a correct analysis. You will end up blaming the people. Every analysis you make, you must make of this enemy. This is what your generation before you did not do. Matter of fact, they were trying to make believe they had no enemies. And as soon as everything was over, they could sit down peacefully and work out things with those who were not really our enemies. An oppressed people must have an enemy. There's no such thing as an inferior people. We know that. There are things as oppressed people. And they're not oppressed by superior people. They are oppressed by people who are better organized than they are. The reason why the Ku Klux Klan terrorizes us is because they are organized. They have meetings every week. And the members go to the meetings every week. They discuss racist ideology. They ingrain it. They internalize it. And then they have programs for it. They even make uniforms and things like that. How many of us can say we go to meetings every week for the people? How many of us can say we make uniforms for the people's organizations? Africa is the richest continent on the face of the earth. Wherever you find the people on the continent or off the continent, they are the poorest people on the face of the earth. Some get confused as there's others in the generation who went before you. You must not. That great son of Africa, Kwame Ture, said it correctly. Seek ye first the political kingdom. We must be politically organized, not economically organized. We have no economic problem. We are just politically not organized. This is our only problem. Now, those who confuse you tell you we must build up economic strength. How could you build up economic strength and you think you're going to let an enemy let you have economic strength when you don't even have military strength to defend the economically that you say you grow? You can only grow economically when you are secure, politically and militarily. They don't want revolution, they want a piece of the American pie. We don't want a piece of the American pie. We cannot want it. The American pie is based on genocide and slavery. We want to destroy it. We say all the time, we're not poor. Listen, when every African in America gives 5 cents a week, and I'm sure every one of us can do that, to a common economic bank account in this country alone, what economic problem will we have in 3 months? None. We are not politically organized. This is our problem, and this is the emphasis your generation must make. Your generation must come clearly. Just look at the generation that came before you. Sometimes I'm amazed when young students come to me and say, "Oh, Brother Kwame, I sure wish we were back in the 60s. Back in the 60s. I don't want to go backwards, I don't want to go forward. Ain't going back. Oh, in the 60s things were so great, politically global, so organized. We were not organized in the 60s. We were mobilized. One must make a clear distinction between mobilization and organization, which we do not make. We organized, we mobilizing the masses now, we're good at that. Some years ago, with Dr. King's March in 1963, we had 300,000, the most they ever seen. They went and brought out some more, 700,000. Our sisters just brought out 1.5 million. They got a long way to go to catch up. We are massive, but we mobilize. When you mobilize, you come together for a specific issue over a temporary period of time. After that, everything disappears. Organization is permanent. Organization is permanent. You must come to make the difference between mobilization and organization. Dr. King was one of the greatest mobilizers that this country has seen in this century, but he was not an organizer. This is not in any way to discredit Dr. King. He did a great job, we admire and love him. But to advance the struggle, we must go beyond Dr. King's mobilization to organization. This is a crucial task. About revolution, and we need to mention some things about it, so some people get confused about it. Revolution means nothing other than the constant qualification of life, that's all. It means making life better. But now let me tell you something about revolution. Some people think that revolution can be made by a few people. No. Revolution can only be made by all the people. Therefore, if you're serious about revolution, you have to talk about organizing the masses. If you want reform, you talk about mobilizing the masses. Mobilization seeks influence. Organization seeks power. There's a big difference. We are revolutionaries here, and we're grateful for the education we received when we were young. Never have we been stupid enough to fight for something where there was no power involved in it. Anytime we got involved, there had to be power. If there was no power, I ain't fighting. You run away, I'm running away. Yes, I'll give you an example. One night coming home as a young man in New York City there, you know, as backward as this country is. One of the playmates there saw me, I was coming, and was under a bridge. He was drunk, a little bit drunk. I played soccer. I was captain of my soccer team. I'm an athlete. I'm in high school. So here comes, he wants to fight me. Nobody's there. I look around. I just run. I wasted it. Run slow, then you're going to catch me, then speed up, until I just fell out. I kept on running. My practice could easy. What am I going to fight him for? He ain't got nothing. He had a truck. If I hit me, he might hit me in my eye. My bad luck is figuring me. What do I get? Nothing. I ran away from the fight. Well, he misunderstood it. 3 days later, we're in the schoolyard. Everybody's there. So, you know, now he wants to, you know. So now I have to fight him because, you know, if I don't whoop him, but if there's nothing to gain, I don't fight. You ain't got no power, I ain't got no fight with you. I don't fight for nothing. A lot of stupid people fight for nothing. A whole lot of them fight for nothing. He just pushed me, boy, I whooped him. Yeah, pushed me that. I whooped him. He just bloody my eye a little bit. I whooped him. What'd you get? Nothing. Nothing. They fight for nothing all the time. He said so-and-so to this woman, and I didn't like that. I'm going to go over there. What you going to get? We're revolutionaries. We fight for power. We do not fight for influence. We're not seeking to influence. We are to destroy the capitalist system that can never produce anyone like it. You must make clear distinctions between reform and revolution. The majority of those who were on the front lines for your people, who were petty bourgeois intellectuals, opted for reform, not for revolution. through the intelligentsia. We know them. And revolutions are made by three sectors of the society: the workers, the peasants, and the revolutionary intelligentsia, which comes from the intelligentsia, the intellectuals that we have. But we tell you, just as Africa has the most rotten, corrupted, and disgusted bourgeoisie, so too she has the most rotten and disgusted and corrupted intelligentsia. Her intellectual students are looking for nothing other than to make money and forget about their responsibility to serve their people. Task then you have a formidable task. Even up to now, we cannot produce the talented tenth that Du Bois has been begging for, crying for, and praying for decades, almost a century now. We come from the most corrupt in our society. We come from those who owe everything to the people and want to give nothing back to the people. In fact, they want to continue to exploit their people, working in partnership with other exploiters of their people. The task we have then as students, the serious task. The task we have then as intelligence is the serious task. To take your intelligence and give it to the people. When I graduated from Howard University, the reactionary professor said to me, "So what are you going to do now?" I said, "Well, Mississippi." "Where are you going with them stick people?" "I'm going with them stick people." "Full time?" "All the time." "Well, what you going to do with our family?" I said, "Well, the family I get will either sacrifice with me or keep getting on." "Well, what you going to do for eating?" "People in Mississippi eating. They ain't going to let me starve on some fight for them." No, we started off by telling you, we're talking about experiences. When I was a young man working for Snake in Mississippi, they would put me in a house I don't even know. 2 o'clock in the morning, people I don't even know would come knock on the door. "Now they found the house, now they come and fight. Let's go." They put me in a truck, take me to some other house. I go to a house, the people there are peasants, they are poor sharecroppers. They ain't got nothing except one bed that's been passed on from generations to generations with a handy quilt. And they go 3 o'clock in the morning, bring me, I got my sleeping bag, and they go, "Insist that I sleep in the bed." I tell them, "No, I got a sleeping bag, I'm better on the floor." No. One man said one night, "These young boys, what they think is in these young girls coming down here, they think that they're ready to give their lives for us, and we're ready to give their lives to them. Who they think it is?" Yeah. I didn't know where I was. There's people who protect me, give their lives for me. Once you fight for the people will always fight to protect you. But your fight for the people must be honest. It must be dignified. It must be integrity. It must be without no compromise at all. You must come to present to your college and your colleagues an example of what a conscious human being is. The atmosphere of Howard still has to change. There is still too much frivolous activities on the board. It's only the conscious students who can come to change the campus at Howard University and its atmosphere. Change what is known as its milieu, in order to attract students to serious aspects of learning. You must not think this is haphazard. The United States government has filled onto Howard University campus all sorts of agents, especially since the 60s, to ensure that the university remains frivolous. But all this is in vain. We shall win. As a matter of fact, we are winning. But the only way you can properly see that you're winning is when you take a revolutionary perspective and a revolutionary perspective that look at the masses of the people, not the corrupt leaders that you find everywhere, especially overwhelmingly in Africa. Look at the people. Look at this issue in the Gulf here that this stupid man is talking about. I mean, nothing but community punishment for one man. Listen to the filth of their press. Do you know what the press said when interviewing an ex-president? When you had a chance to kill Saddam Hussein, why did you kill him? Could you imagine that? You say you want to kill Saddam Hussein, and you kill babies to get masses of the people is such that they cannot. You must look to the masses. All of those reactionary regimes want to support America, but they cannot, because the consciousness of the people continues to grow and nothing can stop the rising consciousness of the masses. Absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, his action is going to speed it up. When he attacks there, hatred for American imperialism will rise even more throughout the world. Nobody pays attention outside this world. Hatred for American imperialism is growing everywhere. And our bombing of Iraq is only going to push it further, bringing revolution clear to the front of that area of the world. We are winning. We must never be dismayed. We are living in Guinea. Here in Sierra Leone, a coup d'etat took place last year. On the very same day, we sent from the All-African People's Revolutionary Party a delegation all the way from Nebraska, one from New Jersey, the Democratic Party of Guinea, of the African Democratic Revolution, sent one of its youth wings, of the Democratic African Revolution to African Liberation Day. It was being sponsored by CANAFU in Freetown. On that very day, the military pulled a coup. Quite havoc. After that, many brothers and sisters in Sierra Leone started to find themselves in Guinea. Many. There are two categories here, refugees and fighters. We, of course, occupy ourselves with the fighters, not the refugees. You go to the UN. The fighters are the ones we want. Those who were refugees were coming in crying. Oh, it was happening. We are very contented. We see things advancing. One of them came and said, I don't understand you all. Our country's being destroyed. The military is fighting. People are dying. And you all seem to be happy. So, no, we're not happy. We're just glad to be advancement of the African Revolution. Neocolonialism is finished in Africa, and they don't even see it. In the first place, many of us do not appreciate Africans as thinkers. This is how deep the inferiority complex runs. And this comes especially for you students. You must break through this hole. You must begin to look to people outside of the West. Look to people outside and read them. Especially Africans. The great D.I. Lenin at the turn of this century wrote a book entitled Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. It's correct. Properly documented. Any revolutionary must know this book. Kwame Ture in the 1960s wrote a book entitled Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism. That book is even more documented than Lenin's book. Lenin's book gives examples. Kwame Ture gives names of the companies who are exploiting Africa and documents how they're exploiting them, the amount of profit they rip off of Africa. This book is more precise. It names names. Nobody pays attention to improvement. Africans, oh. One brother once even told me in the 1970s, he was a Maoist. African. Came to me and said, I'm a Maoist. It's a good feeling. He said, what do you know about Maoist? Maoist is a great man. He's a great man. You know, everybody will respect Maoist. Stupid. You know. Maoist is doing what he's done. Wow. That's fantastic. Well done. Love him. He said, yeah, you still with that Nkrumah? I said, yeah, I'm Nkrumah. He said, well, Nkrumah, you hear him do nothing. He said, see what Mao did? Mao unified China. I told him that Mao Zedong was a great man. But all Mao Zedong had to fight against was Chinese feudalism and Japanese imperialism. If that is all that Africa had to fight against, we would be a unified socialist continent already. But Africa had to fight against the Germans, the French, the English, the Spanish, the Portuguese, the Belgians. All of Western Europe, with the exception of Ireland, came to colonize Africa and unify their force against Africa. If Mao Zedong had to fight against the French, the Germans, the Spanish, the English, the Portuguese, the etc., etc., we might not have China where it is. Kwame Ture says you do not judge a people by the heights they've achieved, but the depths from which they come. Those guys are Tourists. Matter of fact, we go everywhere. People fight with us. They don't think that we Africans are capable of thinking for ourselves. We are revolutionaries here. We say we're only concerned with one thing, with power. I said, Bikini, what you doing? I said, one thing, John, the state power. Man came talk about nonsense. He had a big meeting, talking up with his speech. I took 2 minutes. I said, that ain't even so close to the state power. I'm looking for state power. What does that mean? The regime in power, we got to replace them. How? By any means necessary. It's a military regime. How did they replace us? They came to power by guns, killed 90% of our Central Committee, tortured and harassed thousands of our cadres, put them in jail. What do you mean? By any means necessary, we don't take state power. All we want is power, revolutionary. But do you know why people speak of power? Many don't know what power really is. Something that powers execution or implementation. Power begins at the level of conception. Months and years ago, when this Gulf War was being kicked off, I was in New York. A journalist called me to ask him questions about the war. He mentioned Colin Powell. I said, "Here, traitor." Well, I think the brother had been in the army or whatever, clicking. I said, "Here, traitor." Not just be here, traitor. Finally, he said to me, "Well, maybe you're jealous of him." I said, "Jealous of Colin Powell?" He said, "Yeah, because he got power." I said, "Well, how is that power?" So there he's commanded the troops, you know. I said, "Powell and I are the same age." He said, "I went to the same elementary school in the Bronx." We both faced the draft together for Vietnam. He said, "Yes." I told him, "Hell no, I ain't doing it." I don't know, man. I don't know you. It means it never reached my mama. I don't know how to do that war. Power went. They sent him to Grenada. They sent him to Lebanon. They sent him here. Now they sent him to the Gulf. I said, "You call that power?" I want to be the one who's sending him. That's where the power is. That's where the power is, the one who conceives. That's where power is. Power begins on the level of conception. What you conceive, you can do, you can do. I'll give you a clear example. We say we're winning. People in Syria say, "We don't say happy." I said, "Look." And Nkrumah says neo-colonialism is the last stage of imperialism. I've seen Africans who call themselves intelligentsias, who write, quote Nkrumah. Nkrumah says neo-colonialism is the last stage of imperialism, and then they say, "But Africa is going to be recolonized." You understand what they're saying? We said it's finished. If you examine neo-colonialism in Africa, you will see that they use 3 political instruments. The clique, which to confuse socialists they call a one-party state, as they did in the case of Mobutu and Houphouët-Boigny, for example. The military, which is their most popular means of suppressing the people in Africa. Every square inch of Africa has seen military rule. And the third one is the one they just brought in called a multi-party democracy trial. These are the 3 political instruments of neo-colonialism in Africa. If you look at the clique, it's finished. They themselves had to destroy Mobutu. They themselves. It wasn't Kabila, it was the Americans. They themselves, they got rid of Mobutu. So they know the one-party clique can no longer rule. That one is finished. The military is totally discredited in every square inch of Africa. The military is totally discredited in every square inch of Africa. Now we come to Sierra Leone. Here in Sierra Leone, the military makes a coup. And when the military makes a coup, the people in Africa, the masses, are completely against it. It's got to come down. They just brought it down. You know who brought it down? 5 military regimes. Abacha in Nigeria, military. Rawlings in Ghana, military. Conte in Guinea, military. Jammeh in Gambia, military. Blaise Compaoré in Burkina Faso, military. So the military has now brought down the military to justify the military, and they've got to go to civilian rule. You must look properly and examine the masses of the people. This last one about ethnic multi-party democracy, since it has built-in ethnic cleavages and Africa's already surpassed that stage, there's no time for them. You must be careful. They will make it appear as if Africa has fought more fratricidal wars than Europe in their media campaigns. They kill 1 million today. In 1 month they kill 1 million. Now they're just attacking each other. So if you're not careful, it will sound like if in Africa all they're doing is spreading blood. But anyone who has a cursory glance of history knows that Europe has committed more fratricide warfare than all the continents put together. Matter of fact, they didn't even maintain it in Europe, they brought it outside. In Trinidad, where I was born, the French fought the Portuguese, fought the British for Trinidad. Go all over the world, they fight each other everywhere. So they carry the fight outside of Europe. So if you're not careful, it might make it appear as if, wow, you know, it's going to be rough in Africa. We make a statement all the time, and it's absolutely true. Africa shall be the first unified socialist continent in the world. Africa shall unify before Europe. Of that, there isn't the slightest question. We can go into 3 areas. One we've already touched on, the historical aspect of the South African warfare. We give you 2 other examples. Now let me tell you something about Africa today. Africa today is ruled overwhelmingly by the scum of our race. Those puppet leaders in Africa, they work hand in hand with the enemy to exploit them. This I can never understand. This is so anti-African. Here, you grow up in Africa, you know your people. You get into a position where you have the opportunity to help your people, and instead of helping your people, you work with imperialist powers to further exploit your people. I'll kill you quicker than I killed the white man. All over Africa, nothing but scum, nothing but scum. All they're doing is stealing, 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 stealing. But this is good. Everything has a positive aspect. In order for neo-colonialism to work, the only way it can work is that the scum of the race must work with them. I mean, you really got to be scum to work with a neo-colonial regime. And what happens is that they become contemptuous of the people. Therefore, in Africa, the people today are not crying out for revolution. They're only crying out for honest government. They don't care if she's stupid, they just want her honest. And the only honest is the revolutionaries. Nobody else is honest except the revolutionaries, therefore they're calling for revolution. You must not get confused. You look at Africa, as I told you, she's ruled overwhelmingly by puppets. But you can listen to your press, your world press, any day of the week, and you can hear a European statesman, a president, a prime minister, come before the world press and say, well, you know, this problem of European community is not good for us. It will hurt our tariffs and agriculture. You know, it will have an effect upon our fishing industry. They give what appear to be logical and I imagine political reasons why they are hesitant about forming European unity. We say in Africa, the scum of our race is ruling. They don't want African unity. They actively work against African unity. But not one of them can ever come before the people in Africa and give any reason saying why they are not for African unity. All of them must give lip service to African unity. Why? Because the strength of African unity among the masses is so strong that it cannot be denied or infringed upon by any leader, no matter how corrupt and scummy they are. The strength of the people is there. You never find it anywhere else. Once a journalist was talking nonsense, he said, oh, you sound like you speak all of Africa. I said, well, what should we do? He said, what's that? I said, when we say Africa must unite, no African can say anything against that. Finally, so you can see it clearly, we are looking at the masses of our people now. You look at the leadership, we look at our people. That's what we want, masses. We look at those people very carefully. I've heard songs sung about England, about France, even about Germany, but I've never heard one song sung about Europe. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I've never heard it. The songs I've heard sung about Africa, I can stop with Bob Marley alone, who was born outside of Africa. Even in Trinidad, with the Calypsonians, as backward as they are, they got to say, how you doing, Africa? Yes. The songs that sing about Africa are numbered in the hundreds of thousands. Everywhere. No other continent has don't feel like Africa. Not North America, not South America, not Asia, no continent. The culture of the people is a vibrant culture, you must know it. You can see it clearly yourself. You can bring out a map of all the continents, and the one that everyone will recognize, thanks to the work of the African masters, is the map of Africa. Yes. They wear it around their necks. Some even shave it in their heads now. Everywhere. The love of Africa is so strong among the masses of people, there is no question that Africa will be the first unified socialist continent. It's only someone who doesn't understand history, who is fooled by the lies of the propaganda of the capitalist press, that cannot see clearly the victory of Africa before their eyes. We are coming to conclude, but you know we're revolutionaries. The great Kwame Ture says, thought without action is empty. And action without thought is blind. Revolution, says he, are made by women who think as women of actions and act as women of thoughts. This point must be properly understood. The American capitalist system does not just rip off our labor. It seeks to distort our thinking. That's why you as students have to play such an important role. Let me give some examples. Some years ago, when there was trouble in the Eastern Bloc there, and the Soviet Union had collapsed thanks to betrayal, a man came to me and said, Kwame Ture, what are you talking about? I said, socialism. He said, it's dead. I said, it is. He said, yeah. I said, I must have missed a funeral. He said, you missed it. Did you hear about what happened with Gorbachev and other people? I said, oh, that's betrayal. He says, what do you mean? The social system is finished. They're falling down. It's only the crazy ones like Castro and a couple of places up. But they're going too soon. I said, even if they betray, socialism will never die. I said, capitalism has confused you. Confused me? Yeah. Capitalism makes you judge a principle by its believers, by its adherents. You don't judge any system by its believers. You judge it by its principles. Have you reason confusing me? I said, no, I'll straighten you out. He said, what do you mean? I said, you don't judge socialism by socialists. He said, now you really confused me. I said, no, I'll straighten you out. He said, how do you judge it? I said, by the principles. He seemed confused. I said, hey, bro, look at it. Do you judge Christianity by Christians? Not even by the Pope. You judge Christianity, you judge it by the thoughts, deeds, words, and actions of Jesus Christ. Peace be upon him. Therefore, anywhere you come seriously to judge Christianity, you judge it by its principles, not by its worshippers. If you judge Christianity with all due respect to Dean Richardson, even by Rankin's Chapel, we would have So I told you, don't judge socialism by socialists, you judge it by its principles. If every Christian in the world betrays Christianity, Christianity will live out eternally because its principles are true and the principles of truth are eternal. I thought I was just betrayed. He said, but he betrayed the definition. I said, no, that of course, he betrayed meant the end of his system. Christianity would collapse in Judas. The only difference is that Judas had enough dignity to hang himself. Gorbachev is still running around the world picking up 30 pieces of silver for his speeches. Sometimes you have to impose the dignity of Judas on some of these traitors. Property, no, property. Judas thought you left me for the comedy shows. No, I like Judas. He had dignity. He had dignity. I betrayed more. Finish. You know, I can understand that. But you're going to betray. I still say I can't talk to you. So you have to be careful now in your thinking. Capitalism will distort your thinking. They will distort your thinking into letting you think that America is more important to you than Africa. They will distort your thinking into letting you think that now is more important than the generation in the future. job is to corrupt your thinking. Therefore, you have to fight against it. Now, when it corrupts your thinking, it lets you think you are thinking when in fact you're not thinking. That's the biggest trick. I've got so many examples. I know when we took our position against the war in Vietnam. Once I was in Seattle, Washington, I'll never forget it. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I was at the airport. There came a brother. Boy, he was down in his funky suit, army suit. You know how we is, shoes shine, buttons shine. You know how we, we can't. So we sat down with 2 brothers. We talked. I said, "Hey, you going out to Vietnam?" And he didn't know who I was. I said, "Why are you out there in Vietnam?" He said, "Well, fight against the communists." I said, "Well, what the communists are? You know what? The real communists, they take away democracy. You mean like in Mississippi where we can't vote?" Something like that. But they're worse. They kill, they torture, like the Ku Klux Klan. He didn't know what it was, but he thought that he was thinking by going to defend American democracy against communism. He wasn't thinking. He was merely reacting to stimuli, and in the act of reacting, he thought he was thinking. It happens all the time, especially on the college campus. You cannot think about something unless you are involved in it and studying it. Know it. If you've never been to a biology class, you can't think about biology. If you've never been to physics, you can't think about physics. Of course, you can think about physics. But if you've never taken physics, you can't think about physics. If you've never played basketball, you can't think about basketball. Of course, when you watch a basketball game, you can criticize every basketball player. But if you've never played basketball, you can't think about basketball. If you've never struggled for your people, you can't think about your people's struggle. You must share that one crystal clear. Or somebody, "Oh man, the people would die, oh, it's not bad when the people get down." What you do for the people? Oh, when the people get down. No. And this is what we need as a people. And number one, brother got a whole 30-minute discussion about what we need and all that. I asked brother, "Brother, have you ever walked a picket line for your people? Brother, you ever stayed up all night and meeting with the people? Brother, what have you done for the people?" "I studied. Brother, what have you done for the people?" If you're not involved with the people's struggle to advance the people, you cannot think about advancing the people's struggle. Of course, you can think about it. Of course, you can think about it. But unless we struggle together, we cannot think about the people's struggle. So for the first thing you must know, if you truly want the advancement of your people, deep in your heart of hearts, that's the thing you really want. If you are not actively working to bring it about, you ought to think about something else. It would be more productive. It would be more productive. Therefore, thought and action must go hand in hand. We say they separate between the Catholics. They let you think you can think about anything without knowing anything. And Amherst, about 2 years ago, having a discussion with the student, I told him, "But your American system is backwards, stupid." They got mad. I told him, "But it's true. They don't even send in primary sources." "What do you mean, Mr. Ture?" I said, "Check this out. How many of you know about Hitler?" Every hand went up. Every hand went up. "How many of you got an opinion about Hitler?" Keep your hands up. Every hand stayed up. How many of you have read one book by Hitler? Keep your hands up. Every hand went up. And look at you. Hitler wrote books. Hitler wrote articles. You are a student. You have an opinion about Hitler, and you never took the time out to read Hitler. You read what somebody told you to think about Hitler. And you think you're thinking about Hitler. The same, of course, is true for Africa. We make advances and we must know them. This is the first generation of Africans to produce a serious crop of African anthropologists. Starting from Jacob to Diop, all the way down to Van Servet, but to finish, all of them were popping up everywhere. We're in my hand. First time. Now all the lies told will be scientifically smashed once and for all. Hitler said you can tell a lie 1,000,000 times, and the people will come to think it's true. This is true. Revolutionaries say, tell the truth a couple of times, it will smash 1,000,000 lies. This is the truth. Your job is to come to get the facts about Africa to feed them to our unconscious masses. We're suddenly coming to our conclusion that we have to put action together with our theory. Otherwise, we've just made a theoretical speech. We're revolutionaries. We're not theoreticians, we're activists. Our theory is confirmed only in our action. That's the only place. That's why when we speak as revolutionaries, we speak as if we're so authoritative that we're involved in the action of the thoughts that we are speaking about. Our people divide into two great camps, the conscious and the unconscious. The overwhelming majority of our people, are unconscious. You could say 95% without even blinking an eye. The 5% who range in consciousness, of course, range in different degrees. And we give them a big leeway when we say 5%. Our party, the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, works only with the conscious here as well. Minister Louis Farrakhan does great work with the unconscious. There's no need, therefore, for us to duplicate our energies. Our work is with the conscious, therefore, when we go to have a recruitment drive like we're having here this evening, that's what we're having. We don't make big publicity for everybody, just get it on the ground. The ones who are serious, they're here, they'll come. Those are the ones we're looking for. We're not looking for the ones that Farrakhan is looking for. Farrakhan is doing a great job, and we've been safely there to meet him, to greet him. We've known him for 30 years, we support him, he's doing a fantastic job. But no need for us to duplicate. Jesse Jackson is also on other levels, raising the level of the conscious and the unconscious, our shops. And so there are many, many forces that are doing this. But we, the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, we work with the conscious. Now, when we say we work with the conscious, for us the conscious means that they understand that they have a responsibility, and the major responsibility that they have is to order their entire life around the liberation of the masses of their people. This is what we mean by the conscious. That means that when I got married to my wife, I told her, if your child needs milk, and I got the money for the milk, and if a brother needs a gun, your child ain't getting no milk. You can just roll it over. You know what I'm saying? And when life comes, you got this is it. African Revolution is paramount in our life. Here, we sacrifice everything for it. Our party, the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, started a long time ago. The Pan-Africanist Party, we've done a lot of work. We spread our work. As Brother King showed you, we came back and institutionalized African Liberation Day. We have organizers in Africa now, in South Africa, in Ghana, Sierra Leone, Guinea. We've got over Africa. We're pumping up more. Of course, we've got organizers throughout the United States, here in Washington. We have them in the Caribbean. We have them in England. So we've been concentrating our work, putting a true Pan-African character and nature to our party. Which we've been able to do. The representative from the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, why don't you just raise your hands, because there are quite a few of them. Just raise your hands, So you can see some of these people in the back there who sacrifices for you. Now, of course, since we work with the conscious, we don't work with the press. Be careful here. We don't work with the press, because we're talking about revolution. We're not a mobilization organization. Press can't help us. We've always done people they move to don't need the press. And I think what a lot of people missed about the march in Philadelphia with the sisters was that that march came about without any press at all. Just grassroots. When you look at that, you know we're going to win. These people just came, they want to do something for the people, and they're coming out in the millions. The press can talk all the nonsense, they can't even talk it no more. About before we didn't care about each other, we told you, a truth will smash 1,000,000 lies. Once Farrakhan put that million march together here, that smashed all of that. They had to stop. 1,000,000 of them? You haven't seen nothing yet. The system's coming. I can't even tell you that. We about it? They said they had 1.5 million. They went out there. Who was the leader? Mr. Masses. The African People's Revolutionary Party wants to organize the masses of our people all over the world. This is our task. The task we take on our shoulders is not a difficult one. The Honorable Marcus Garvey did this already, so all we have to do is the traces there for us now, history. We said that of the 3 groups that made revolution, students, workers, intelligentsia, the intelligentsias were the most treacherous, and they are. Look at the French Revolution. Who betrayed it? The peasants? The workers? No. The petty bourgeoisie, the intellectuals, the intellectuals. Look at our revolution. Look at your movement of the 60s. Who betrayed it? The sharecroppers? The workers? No. The petty intellectuals who ran for jobs. Everywhere you look, who betrays revolution? This segment. You have a serious job. We, as the All-African People's Revolutionary, took on the task of organizing the intelligentsia. We know what we're involved in. You can organize them for revolution, they've got to do it. Without them, we're in trouble. Who are going to give sound ideas to the people to understand their own correct movements? It has to be you. Who is going to be able to give them the truth about Africa, to make them become competent, let them know they can think like any other human being? It has to be you. Who is going to take the task to organize them? It has to be you. You are the youth, and you are the intelligentsia. You are the acquirers of knowledge. And what your people lack is knowledge. This is your task. When you go out the doorway here, you'll find a table for the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. We have one task here tonight. That when each of us walk out of this room through this discussion, we will, of course, become more enthusiastic in both our thoughts and actions to work to advance our people's struggle. On any level. On any level. We would like you to join the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. Let me tell you something about our party now. Our party was founded by Osagyefo Kwame Ture. And we started our first work study cells. Now let me show you what the difference we make over other organizations. We know that our people can act together, but we don't think together. And many people, of course, who are very lazy, and laziness is not a character of a revolutionary. Many people who are lazy want to do the easy. Since the people can be easily mobilized over issues, you know, and they act together, as soon as there's a little case, the police terrorism, they run, they make noise, they bring a group together, it's easy. But the work of making our people think together is the difficult work because it is our weakness. When you love a people, you don't jump on their strengths. You go for their weaknesses. We love our people. We're going to strengthen the weaknesses. We have to start thinking together since we already act together. I mean, you can see our actions together. We're revolutionaries here. We dream of making urban rebellions. We've been involved in it since the 1960s, so we know how to do it. In America, yeah, we've been involved in so many urban rebellions right here in America, we know how to do it. We didn't even organize them. Of course we did. We organized them. We know how to do it. The one here at the King, when we were assigned from the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee come to Washington, D.C., we were coming here for one purpose, to make a rebellion in 1968 on July or August. We began to organize all around the city. When King was assassinated in April 8th, we had to go for it now. There's not a discussion. Go for it now. Let's wait my foot. Let's go for it now. We got no choice. If he's ready to go, go. And we wanted what we had. Made a serious mob in Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
Made a serious mob in Washington, D.C. After that, they backed up. So we know how to make rebellions. But to plan a rebellion where people do not think together is extremely difficult. But they act together now. Look, I give you enough to declare this is the truth. This is the truth. When was the Rwandan rebellion? April 1992? 92? In February of 1992, I was in California. Had an all-day meeting with the Crips, the Bloods, and all. You know, we do this all the time. We've been doing it all our lives. Sat down, had big discussions with them. You know, tell them, listen, man, you know, this thing going. And near the end of the meeting, I told them, I said, listen, you know, I was the Honorary Prime Minister of the Black Panther Party. And one of the things I learned early in life from a book I read about Stalin, that's one of the story. Stalin gained power in the Bolshevik party because he sat on the guns. Now the reason Stalin got to stand on the guns is because Stalin, when he was recruited in the Communist Party in the Soviet Union, was a priest working in a monastery. He was recruited as a priest. Many people didn't know that. And he worked from the monastery. Now, you know, all revolutionary movements, there come a time when you need money, and when you get to a serious level and you need money, you start ripping off the capitalist banks. That's where you get your money from. All revolutionary movements have done this. So when it came time to rip off the banks, since most of the Bolsheviks were intelligentsia and didn't know the people, and Stalin was a priest and he had contact with the lumpen proletariat, they gave the job to Stalin. So Stalin started the bank robbers, collected the money, since he was a priest and was honest, they got the money, and he started to sit on the guns. So when I went to the Black Panther Party, I knew there was going to be trouble up in there with the FBI, all the struggles, the confusion. I sat on the guns. At one time, the Black Panther Party, what did the FBI and I knew how many guns were in the party? I just love the guns. So I told him, I said, you know, so I know the guns. I explained to him all the guns we used to use in the Black Panther Party. As a matter of fact, the favorite gun of the Black Panther Party was the 9mm pistol, sweet little gun. It's a revolver, repeater, you know, automatic, and the Belgians make them nice, you know. I told them the guns they used to use, you know, AK-47. I told them the guns they use now, you can't get in the streets. I told them there's got to be police getting the guns. No question about it, you know. So we went through discussion. And I told them, well, anyway, you know, things don't get rough out here, sooner or later we have to rise up, you know. And since you're all organized form, you know, let's do some simple stuff. Nothing difficult. You know, like what we do with organizing, you know, start collecting tires, you know. So when you want to stop the police, just stream across the street, burn the tires, and take them away. You know, find out some tall buildings in LA and put some snipers up there. You know, get some Molotov cocktail. You know, anybody make a Molotov cocktail, you know. Just pour some gas in a container, put a rag in it, tie the rag, throw it where it hit the captain's throat. You know, Molotov cocktail, you know. Very difficult to make, you know. You know, I told them all these things, you know, they told me near the end of it. Oh, Brother Kwame, he thinks you back in the 60s, that stuff experience. That was February of 1992. In April, I was sitting in Libya. They let Rodney King, the pigs who brutalized Rodney King, they let him go. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all the Africans took out me with them. Action together, unified. Not fought, action unified. Ask every one of them involved in that righteous rebellion, what were they involved in it for? And you get as many reasons as you have participants. No unified thinking. Our party takes this challenge on, and we precisely understand what we're doing. It is not an easy task. The enemy will do everything possible to stop this, because if you look at your people's history, your people are valiant people. Your people, unorganized, have shook this country to its foundations. When we're properly organized, we will destroy capitalism without the slightest discussion. Your people have gone from burning plantations to burning cities without being organized. That's not an easy task in a country that's as oppressive and repressive against us as this system is. Your people need organization. This is our only reason, therefore, when you go out, let me take them out. Our party is a serious party now. Just like the Ku Klux Klan goes to meeting every week. If you love your people as much as the Ku Klux Klan hate you, you should go to a meeting every week. You think that we're going to be free just by you coming to meetings and clapping? You think Farrakhan by himself can free us? I tell you honestly, with the truth coming out of me. Any brother or sister who try by themselves to solve the problems we have will go starved, raving mad. These problems can only be solved by all of us properly organized together. In our conclusion, once you join our party, when you go out the door, they have party people there, they will introduce themselves, tell you about our party. They're having an orientation here on Saturday, February 21st at 2 to 4 p.m. All the information is out there. But our party now, serious party. Serious party. And when you start, you don't put all the seriousness on. You start step by step, step by step, step by step. So you don't have a whole lot of work to do in it, but we want to show you if you think it's the correct path. We tell you come work with us. But now, we tell you all the time, if you don't join our party, you better join another organization working for the people. We want our people organized. We want them organized in our party, but we want our people organized more than we want them organized in our party. And if they get organized in any organization, we're satisfied. But making that statement once to a young brother who thought that they were revolutionary, not comprehensive. We got there. You tell them to join any organization, I tell them to join any organization. I told them Kwame Ture says, bad organization is better than no organization at all. And this is absolutely correct. Once at the same meeting in February, with the gangs, after there we had a meeting with some intellectuals. We were late. We're usually never late because we're revolutionaries. But we apologized, and the spokesperson for the party said that unfortunately, we were meeting with these gang people. So one brother stepped up to me and said, "You meet with the Crips and the Bloods?" He said, "You were late with them because of us." And so, how could you do that? I said, "Well, they need us more than usual." And aside from that, get organized. I'd rather work with them than work with you. He said, "Organized?" I said, "Yeah." So you know what's the fundamental thing about organization? There's a higher force above you. The gang member disciplines himself to the gang. Whether correct or incorrect, that's not the judgment we're making here. What we're making here is there's something above you. The intelligentsia in this country, the African intellectuals, have no force above them to which they're here to bathe themselves out. When you organize, discipline is imposed upon you. We are indisciplined people. When we were students on this campus, Friday, spring term, everybody outside dancing, enjoying themselves on Friday. We were meetings working for the people. And if you were given a task to accomplish for that meeting, you had to go and give that task there. Organization imposes organized discipline upon us. We are indisciplined people. We need organization. So we tell you, if you don't join our party, join the NAACP. If you don't join the NAACP, join the Urban League. If you don't join the Urban League, join NAPO, New African People's Organization. If you don't join that, join the Nation of Islam. And if all the organizations out there fighting for people is not the correct one for you, then you come on and make your organization to help us free the people. The task before your generation is to organize the masses of our people. The task before your generation is to organize the masses of our people. You have everything going for you. In the first place, your people, unlike others, whenever they struggle, their character is mass by definition. When you speak in this country of the mass struggle, you do not speak of the labor struggle. You speak of the struggle of Africans. We are the mass struggle. If you will look at the struggle for independence throughout Africa and the Caribbean, it was nothing less than a mass struggle. If you will look at the uprisings in England, by your people there, you will see again nothing but mass. Even Los Angeles, mass. Your people have a mass character to their struggle. Therefore, it is not difficult to take this mass, spontaneous character and transform it into a mass political organization that is systematic and is permanent. You have everything going for you. Your people, when they move like wildfire. Examples abound everywhere. If you would look at the liberation for the independence movement in Africa, and you mark into March 6, 1958, with Nkrumah, by 1960, 2/3 of Africa was already independent. No other continent has ever done that. If you look at your own movement here, and look at it properly and see clearly, in February 1st of 1960, 3 students sat in a lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. By the end of the month, thousands have been to jail. And by then, that's then hundreds of thousands who have been there. Your people want freedom so much that as soon as they see what appears to be a crack in the door, they run down it and spread it like wildfire. Once our people start organizing, we will organize like wildfire. Your people, unconscious, jump to consciousness overnight. You must know this. That's why we're not worried about the unconscious. Your people went from Negro to black overnight in this country. I mean overnight. Your people went from gang fighting to resistance overnight between the 50s and the 60s. Your people, if you study them and don't get confused by the lies told about them by capitalist press and their puppets, you will never get confused. Your people are people who are doomed to win this victory in spite of themselves. You have a conscious responsibility to organize your people. This is the clear distinction you must make. Once you transform mass spontaneity to mass organization, generations to come will forever thank you. The only way this can be done is by joining organizations. We thank you. We stand ready for revolution.
Brother Kwame Ture, please, again. So we're just getting started. We gotta organize now, right? We gotta organize now, right? All African People Revolutionary Party have an orientation session in the engineering building auditorium this Saturday at 2 p.m. It's this Saturday at 2 p.m. in the engineering auditorium. Stop the U.S. war on Iraq. We're having another rally this Saturday. Please have a seat. It won't be long. We're going to be very strong today. It's Saturday, February 21st. We're going to meet at DuPont Circle at 1 p.m. and there's a rally in front of the White House. The Republic of New Africa celebrates New African Nations Day, 1998. That's Friday, March 27, 1998. If you're going to be here for spring break, you're going to be at the Republic of New Africa, New African Nations Day. Is that right? The Howard University Student Association Political Committee meeting is March 3rd, 6 p.m. at the Blackburn Center to organize politically for young people. I want to bring up your president, Jonathan Hutzel, with the last remarks.
I'm not going to be long. I mean, Brother Kwame Ture has definitely gave us a powerful lecture today, and I hope all of us take it to heart and definitely go out and organize for the liberation, the salvation of our people. I want to bring up real shortly Ms. Gilda Sherrod Ali. Is she here? Here she is right here, president of the D.C. chapter of the National Conference of Black Lawyers. Please give her a quick round of applause.
Thank you, my brothers and sisters, and I want to thank Brother Kwame for coming here this evening and so accurately reminding us or informing us, depending on which part of the historical spectrum you lie, about how the police destroyed the Black Panther Party, and they also destroyed the Black Liberation Army, and they also destroyed the Deacons of Defense, and they also destroyed every activist organization that we had that was working for our people in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, including new organizations. And in that regard, I'm coming to you this evening with an invitation. I'm inviting you to become active. I'm inviting you to resist. And can you say, as our sister Sonia always asks us, can you say resist? Resist. Can you say resist? Resist. Can you resist? Resist. And we are asking you to come out March 27, 1998 for Jericho 98, and we are going to resist. One of the platforms I heard for your president, Huto, was Nation Time. And Nation Time is the time that it is here in the United States for Black folk, for people of African descent. And what we want to do is to let the world know that there are over 130, I say over 130 Black men and women who are in prison or in exile because they were in the Black Panther Party, the Black Liberation Army, which was a fighting army here in the United States, and they are in jail serving life sentences, 60 years or more for Dr. Matul Shakur. 2 life sentences for our brother Sekou Odinga. Assata Shakur has been permanent exile in Cuba. And on March the 27th, 1998, we want all of you to come out to protest at the White House. We will be there at 10 o'clock in the morning. We will have an organization rally and 7 times march around the White House beginning at noon. And we are going to present requests for amnesty for our brothers and sisters on March 27, 1998. And if they don't want to hear us here at the White House, we are going to the UN. And if they don't want to hear us at the UN, we are going to the World Court. Because we want them to know that there are political prisoners and prisoners of war here in the United States of America as a result of wholesale progress, which is still going on. And the National Conference of Black Lawyers, which has been the legal arm of the Black Revolution since 1968, and is still fighting for us and with us, and I am with the National Conference of Black Lawyers. We are determined to take this fight on indefinitely for as long as we breathe air. Can you say resist? Resist. Can you resist? Resist. It's on to Jericho, and it is Nation Time. We have Nation Time for you at the fellowship room. If you don't have $1, you can get it for free. But it is Nation Time, and we have Nation Time for you. I say resist. Resist.
At this time, we can call our dear Sister Rosie back onto the podium and close us out in prayer.
Brothers, you lead.
Yes.
And Elder would like to speak.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Jericho 98 is also having the film festival here at Blackburn Center the 21st, that Saturday, February, from 4 until 7, following your 2 o'clock event. And we would like all of you to come out. It's a part of organizing to free all of these brothers and sisters of the 60s and 70s who are the warriors who have struggled for us. We'd like for you to come out as part of the organizing of the community. We want you to be there. That is on that flyer I gave the brother. I saw him put it in his pocket. That's why I'm speaking to you now, because he put it away. And you need to know this now, brothers and sisters. This is a part of what Sister Shahira Azad Ali was announcing. Asante Sana. And the victory is ours.
You're very lucky in D.C. because you look around this room, you've got some consistent struggles you've been for a long time. Of course, our sister here, the one with the brother Dr. If you look around. So I just want to say that we're very grateful, we're thankful for those who have been consistent strugglers for the people. Brother Baba Zulu and I were stick together, and when it started to go different ways, he took a path, and many people doubted that he didn't stick to it, and he has stuck to it, inspired us all sports. We just want the younger generations to know that you got some other people out here who've been consistent and got a lot of experience. Once we put both of them together,
and you cannot leave out the female gender. I know we had Sister General Ali to speak. I had Mama y'all into here.
I started with you. I started with you. I started with you.
And you have Zinga over here on the floor. Brother John Moore on the camera.
Does anyone else would like to speak? Yes. Right here, yes, right here at your hand.
Put the camera on the lady with the red.
Please try to be as brief as possible.
Biggest expression in Africa.
I would like to express myself in French. I begin by saying good evening to everyone. I am born in Zaire, actually now in Congo. I am a member of the RNS, the Quad. L'Assemblée pour quoi? Une paix. Hey. The Assembly for hey. Yeah, but assembly is better than rally in English. The word assembly, they understand better than rally. Because rally sometimes sports. So assembly for the new society. Our organization. We are traveling now the rights of man and democracy in Africa. We know we have our brothers and sisters who come from Africa that are here in America. Who you are. We would love very much. And we know you will also love it.